Well, Razorback fans, a little basketball talk today. For Arkansas and Kentucky will only be playing once, according to reports, in Bud Walton Arena. This has to change and has to change now. Let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday as we're going to talk actually a lot of basketball today. Taking a little break from the baseball side, but we'll still get into it because some of you want to know what's to do in Omaha. And for those of you making the trip up to the College World Series, we'll talk about that as well as a message from John Calipari to Dave Van Horn, which was really cool. And we'll discuss that here shortly. But I got to tell you, I've been very fascinated to hear about Arkansas in their non-conference schedule in basketball. Because last year, when Cal first got hired, it felt like there was really no sort of rhyme or reason of the schedule. It just kind of had to be thrown together at the last minute. It was a solid non-conference schedule. I mean, you got to go up to Madison Square Garden against Michigan. You had a chance to go over and play Baylor down in Dallas. You had Illinois and Kansas City. You know, you had a few of them, but it just kind of felt like it was the best you could get. But how I took that also is that John Calipari, man, he just gets it. He gets it on how he is supposed to put a schedule together. And if that was the last minute schedule, I'd say it was pretty all right. So I was so fascinated to see what he ends up doing and what he was going to end up doing, having a full year to get ready and look ahead and look at some of these matchups. And we already know a few of them and what Arkansas is going to be doing. Obviously, the big one being Duke in Chicago. There's also been some rumblings of some other games too. Baylor coming to Fayetteville, I think, is also going to be a good one. But it's been reported by a few outlets that Arkansas would be facing off against Houston, the Cougs, Kelvin Sampson, up at the Barclays Center, where the New Jersey Mets. I got all the teams mixed up there. The Brooklyn Nets play in the NBA, and Arkansas is going to be facing off against them on December 20th. So a really great matchup. I mean, Houston was, I don't know if people realized it, but they were in the Final Four. They've had quite a few opportunities to win championships and get to that point. And Kelvin Sampson's a great coach. So pretty excited about that. I'm pretty excited to see where it all shakes up. So we know a few of the non-conference schedules. But because of the conference schedule kind of being a one that you already know, for the most part, it doesn't get talked about enough. Because you know that you're going to play each and every team in the SEC. You're going to play them all at least once, and in some particular occasions, play them twice. You have 18 SEC games, and you play against 15 other SEC teams beside yourself. So last year, the schedule was not the most favorable at home for SEC. At least it didn't set up to be that way in the beginning. You had Florida at home, but you had them in the second game of the season, the eventual champions. At the time, I don't think anybody looked at them as saying, oh, man, this is the best team in the country and they're going to win a championship, but they were really good. You had them. Ole Miss was after that. Solid team. You also had Alabama at home, to which you almost had a furious comeback in that. But that was it as far as the marquee games go. It's not to say that there weren't other ones. I mean, Mississippi State ended up being a really good game, and you had some nice little wins here and there. But at the end of the day, it just didn't really move the needle for most. So I was going to be fascinated to see what the conference schedule is and also how they handle it. Do they just reverse the schedule like they did for football, like they did for and going to do in other sports too, of just saying, all right, well, you're going to do the exact same schedule as far as teams you played last year. The only difference is that if you played them at home, you now play them on the road. And if you play them on the road last year, then now you're going to play them at home. and then your home and homes with the the teams that you play twice stays the same. We don't know. But what we do know is that John Rothstein of CBS Sports, and a college basketball aficionado, he put out the report that Arkansas will be facing off against Kentucky once in Bud Walton Arena. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is a shock and surprise, because it's not. You played Kentucky once last year in Rupp Arena. We all, actually, do we remember what the result of that one was? Anybody? Yeah, it was a good one. And when that was announced, I was really irritated because, listen, it made sense for Arkansas to play Kentucky in Rupp for the John Calipari reunion. I mean, a year removed from when he left that spot, he walks in and now it's a different situation, a different deal, and all eyes were going to be on that particular game. And they were. And it made sense. But I also said, why would you not want to play Arkansas and Kentucky twice? Because even if the game, yeah, sure, the meaning of it and the pomp and circumstance surrounding it would mean a lot more over at Rupp Arena. But if you had a Bud Walton in addition to Rupp Arena, that would just elevate it into another level. Like, it would just add in a lot of drama and interest. And you talk about people watching it like crazy. That's exactly what would happen. I mean, everybody would be watching that game as well. So I felt like they missed out on an opportunity. And then it started kind of coming together of like, okay, well, maybe they'll fix it. Maybe this next season they'll fix it and they'll put these two teams together. Well, if the report is true as to what John Rothstein has said, that's not happening. Arkansas is just going to play Kentucky once at Bud Walton Arena. Now, I can sometimes be a little bit biased, I guess, when it comes to the schedule I think Arkansas should have in sports, as far as who they should play all the time or who should be their designated rival or whatever it is. But I don't think that I'm out of my element here, and I don't think that I'm saying anything controversial or that many people would disagree with, in saying that the SEC is completely and totally missing the mark with Arkansas and Kentucky playing each other twice. Now, we could have said that for years, and maybe I would have always said it for years, because let's be honest, everybody wants to play Kentucky. It's in the SEC. They want to play Kentucky, when Cal was there especially, because they were the top dog, and you always want to play the top dog. You want to be a part of those marquee matchups. So it made a little bit of sense of why everybody's wanting that. But now Arkansas has kind of become that team when everyone wants a shot at Cal, and of course the Kentucky angle from it adds fuel to the fire. Will it be as spicy this year as it was last year? Probably not. But it'll still be, very much so, must-watch TV. But I just don't understand. And maybe somebody can help me out with it. If you're the SEC, what's your number one priority? Sure, they may sit there and be like, well, to make sure that each one of our members of the conferences are being able to go out and have the student athletes compete at a high level and be able to represent the league well, all that crap. Like, no, what's the number one priority? Money. That's what they always base every single decision on. Money. What can make the most money? Okay. Fine. Where do you get the most money as a conference? It's not boosters. It's not donors. It's not even the bowl money that you get. It's television. It's TV. It's the ratings. That's where you get the vast majority of your money. That's what drives so much. That's what drives everyone to be pissed off about having those 11 a.m. kickoffs in football. The only reason they have them at 11 a.m. is because money. Opening up time slots, getting more eyeballs on their TV. Okay, so that is a fact. It's a case. It's there. Why, oh why, would you not want Arkansas and Kentucky to play each other twice every year? Why would you not want that? Sure, let Arkansas play LSU twice in a year. No one cares about that. Kentucky, I don't even know what their double team schedule. I guess they play Tennessee twice and Florida twice, which is good. I'm sure maybe they have somebody else that's kind of like random, like a South Carolina or something. I don't know. But the point is, you can't sit there and tell me that in this league, constantly, especially moving forward, that one of, if not the most anticipated and will be the most watched game, guaranteed, no brainer, not even close, no matter what, is Arkansas and Kentucky. Like, it has to be that. Has to be that. Why would you not capitalize on that? There's something odd about it. It just frustrates me because I want to see the best of the best. I wanted to go back to Lexington, to be honest. I had a good time for obvious reasons, but I would love, Kentucky people to come in to Bud Walton Arena and vice versa and get to see a little bit of the energy there. I always talked about how DJ Wagner got booed every time he touched the ball over there in Rupp. Well, maybe in Bud Walton Arena, everyone will cheer for him every time he touches the ball. It'll be something funny like that. It needs to happen. So I don't know what the reasoning is behind it. But as far as what it looks like on the surface, it should be this way. Even Kentucky fans can agree. Like Arkansas fans can agree. This thing needs to happen more. Arkansas, Calipari, box office, must watch, no matter what. But you have opportunities in the conference. Non-conference is up to the teams what they schedule, but it's up to you as an SEC to figure that part of it out. It's an easy served up on a silver platter for you. And you just failed it. You just failed it. You screwed it up. Makes no sense. But I tell you what does make sense and what was really cool was the message that John Calipari had for Dave Van Horn. It's pretty epic. I can't wait to play it for you. We'll talk about that coming up next here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast, so stay with us. All right, Razorback fans, there's nothing like the NBA playoffs, and there's also nothing like the College World Series. Intensity, home runs, walk-offs, buzzer beaters, fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere that you have to experience live. A lot of you are needing to experience it live, especially up there in Omaha. But if you want in, Game Time makes it fast and easy to get those seats. Even for the biggest of games, playoff games in the NBA or the College World Series, they got it. Prices on the app actually drop closer to first pitch and tip-off. And with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Game Time is a total game changer. I know that a lot of you look at the apps and look at a bunch of different places to try to get tickets. I've had so many people ask me, what about tickets? How do we get tickets into the College World Series? Well, check out the Game Time app. They make it easy. They make it convenient. And the great thing about it is that they have the Game Time guarantee, knowing that you get the best deal, because if you find a better price in the same row and section, they will give you credit for 110% of the difference, guaranteed. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I'm a sucker for certain things on social media that get created and have connections and kind of hits it home a little bit. I love hype videos. I think the one that Razorback Baseball had, I think it was a fan did it first, and then Razorback Baseball kind of added to it, was the boots video. It was really good. I enjoyed that. I love seeing cool moments, or at least great quotes from coaches and players when they get ready for things. Like one of the deals I remember in College World Series, actually one of my favorite was Blaine Knight when he was going up against Cody Clemens, the former Texas baseball player that was really good, and the son of Roger Clemens. They asked Blaine Knight, he's like, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to plan for a hitter like that? And he just said, I'm going to go right after him. I'm not scared of him. I don't care if he's got 24 jacks on the year or not. He's going to have to hit my pitch. It's like stuff like that just really gets me going, and it gets me hyped up and excited. But one thing that will always just hit me like crazy is hearing John Calipari talk, but specifically John Calipari talk about something that's not about him or about his basketball team, even something that has to deal with the Razorbacks, something that has to deal with Arkansas. Well, shout out to Steve Sullivan of KATV. He had a chance to talk and hear from John Calipari, and he had a message for Dave Van Horn and talked a little bit about him and his College World Series run and had some really cool things to say. Take a listen.
I called him after. I said, enjoy this moment. Worry about the weekend when you're getting through the enjoyment. If you don't enjoy and everything is a relief, it's time to retire. Enjoy the wins. Grieve on the losses. I take about 24 hours, 48 on the last game of the season, but you grieve on a loss and you move on. On the wins, you celebrate wins. And he did. I've been here, this is my second year, and now I've watched his teams. One of the best in the business at what he does. The stadium, bringing people together, having many, many people think, I'm in this, they need me in this. That's how you want to build a program, and that's what he's built. Coach Van Horn is as good as it gets. And, he's been great to me, texting me when we were 0-5. That's when you want to hear from the other coaches. And they all were hitting me. You're going to be fine. It's going to be good. And so, no, I'm going to try. I want to get to Omaha to see that experience. So I'm trying to figure out when I can do it.
Just awesome, man. Like John Calipari is the head coach of Arkansas. Still sometimes doesn't even compute with me. But great stuff there from Cal. I know Kentucky fans are in here because they saw their name in the title or their name being mentioned. So that's like a dog whistle has come in. And so I'm sure the comments are going to be flooded. It'd be like, yeah, classic Cal, complimenting other programs of the school. Either way, it doesn't matter. That was cool. Like to hear Cal say that and to be genuine about it and be very complimentary of Dave, and even mention the fact that Dave texted Cal when they were 0-5 and just saying, hey, hang in there, and saying how Dave is as good as it gets when it comes to coaching, and just a great guy, and going into the specifics of the atmosphere, bringing people together. But then you throw in the fact that, like, I don't know, I still think back to when Cal was at Kentucky and he got ejected and Dave was the one waving him like goodbye, just how far they've come and how far it's been, and so much has changed. But it's such a cool thing to see that. And Cal, he was at a few games in postseason already in the regional and super regional, and he was all in. He was up in the suite. Him and John Daly were hanging out, two of the greatest and most well-renowned coaches and player and people, personalities at least, from the University of Arkansas. So all of this stuff is just epic. But I love the fact that he's like, I got to find time if I can get up there. I was like, man, Cal, you'll find time. You'll find time. You'll make it happen, man. Bring the team up there too. A lot of the players were at postseason games for Razorback baseball, so that was awesome. So just keep that going, man. It's just so cool to see, and it does your heart good to hear from Cal talking about it, because so many times you just think he's a larger than life person, which he is, but he still follows things. He still believes in things. He still enjoys things. He still roots for Arkansas and takes advantage of that. And was just good to hear him talk about it. And just imagine how cool it'll be to see if Arkansas makes the College World Series finals and wins it all. You'll see all the baseball people, see all the fans, then you'll see former players and everybody, and then Cal's just going to be up there and he'll shake his hand and you'll get a great picture and a photo op, and then everyone's going to start crying, and it's just going to be great, man. It's just going to be great. But I had to play that video. That was really cool of Cal to say that, and just another reason why I've always loved that man. Never one time I've ever had anything bad to say about him, and I've always just respected him highly. He's a really likable guy, totally. But I tell you what, I'm going to talk a little bit about Omaha coming up next here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So stay with us. All right. So final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. A lot of you are going to be making the trip up to Omaha for the College World Series. I am going to be making the trip up to Omaha for the College World Series. And, I even tweeted out, I was like, I may die of exhaustion and sleep depravity, because I am, like, I don't even know if what I've said today on the podcast makes sense, because I'm Looney Tunes over here. But I will say that going to Omaha is something I've had the fortunate ability to go 2 or 3 times. It's at least 2. One in 2019, I went in 2022. I'm pretty sure I went another time. 2015, maybe? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I've been quite a few, especially here recently in the latest two of Arkansas's College World Series. And I'm going to be up there again. Going to be doing a lot of my shows and content from DJ's Dugout, which is always a great place and a great time. I know I'm going to do something at Rocco's over there at noon on Sunday. The Jello Shot place, of course, very well known. And I'm also going to be going over to Macadoodles, which is, yes, a lot of you Arkansas people know about Macadoodles. Going to be doing a show up there on Friday at noon. So they got some great deals for you Razorback fans up there. I don't want to do too much of a plug, but it's going to be awesome. So either way, there's so much cool things to do. I actually like Omaha. I know I've kind of crapped on it at times, and it has nothing to do with the city. It just has to do with the heat and the crowds and the stuff like that. Just the absurd amount of things that are going on and how it can be pretty frustrating to deal with at times. And the traffic is awful, but it's usually just for the first weekend. If you make it to the second part of it, then it really clears up. More teams get eliminated, more fans bounce out, things get cheaper. It all works out. But there's so many cool places right there next to TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, that you can check out as far as great sports bars. Like DJ's Dugout, I know is like kind of like the hub of the Razorbacks. It's right next to where the team hotel is going to be. So that's a great spot. And which is awesome. And then you also have some, other factors that come into play, something to the extent of, like going to Rocco's for the Jello Shots, which is big. And there's a few other places, but also throw it out there. And something I'm going to try to do. Hopefully Arkansas is there for long enough where I can actually go and try it out and experience it. But the zoo, I've heard great things about the Omaha Zoo. I haven't been. I can't remember the last time I've even been to a zoo, period. But that's something I'm definitely going to check out if I have the time to do it. But I've heard great things about that. Drover's is a steak place that everyone is highly recommending, and I love it too. It's an awesome spot, the Drover. So go check that out. But yeah, I'll be tweeting out and posting all where we're going to be and hanging out. And so come hang out with us. We're a good time. We like to have fun. That's an Inside Arkansas with me and Curtis and Andrew. So we'll keep you updated on all of that and get it done, man. It's going to be a great week. It's going to be a great weekend. I hope it's a long time coming and it's something that we can enjoy all together as Razorback fans with no issues whatsoever, zero problems whatsoever. It's going to be great. But either way, appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.